Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce CRMatics video session 130. So today's video, we will actually discuss about the scheduling of the data layer. We will understand how the scheduling works. So there are two kinds of scheduling which we have. One is time-based, one is event-based, and we will understand the difference in each one of them. I may not be able to replicate the real-time scenario, okay, but I will just help you to walk you through on how that scheduling part works. Maybe you can try it out on your own and you can check it out yourself as well, okay. So what I will do is I will go to the Analytics Studio and here I will go to the data manager, manage data flow. And firstly, what we will understand is how the sync scheduling works. Okay. So for example, if I take just one of the example, and what I will do is probably I will also take one of the example from my data flow. I'm not sure if I can take the free session one. If I have, okay, I think I can take the free session one. Yeah, I can take the free session one from data flow side. Yeah, the free session one can be taken from the data flow side, which is fine. Because we have made a lot of things over here, which is fine. Now, firstly, what I will tell you is in the connect tab, okay, for example, I have taken this account into consideration. Like I have this data flow where I have the account over here. Fine. So firstly, what I can do is, what happened? Let me just refresh it. So firstly, over here, if you see that account, which had never got run, maybe I can run this one, which is fine. It has been a long time actually since I ran it, but anyways, let it run. But basically the concept here is like here, not too sure why it is in loading stage. Maybe I can just refresh it once again. Okay, so for this account, we have something called as run data sync, which is fine. Okay, edit connection mode. Now this is an incremental sync mode. Okay, now what happens is the scheduling of sync, we can directly do it from here. So we have something called a schedule. Fine. And what happens is whichever, like for example, this is the SFDC local object, whichever object you want to schedule, you can do it. For example, you can schedule by, so basically the sync layer, which is there, like, the data sync layer, which is there, which is storing all the records, that you can only have a time-based schedule. So you can either schedule by minute, hour, week, or month. Okay. So for example, let's say I want it weekly, and like if you go for a minute, it will show you like when you want to start it, and you can run every 15 minutes. Okay, that's the flexibility which you have, and you can also choose at what time you can run the sync. Okay, stop queuing at a specific time. So if there's a specific time when you don't want it to be in a queue stage, okay, because after a certain point of time, that queue, if it is in a queue stage for a long time, it won't work. Like the something which we have learned already on the limitations of data in the previous session. So you can ensure that it doesn't queue up. Okay, so what does queuing up means? For example, right now I ran the account. Okay, I also, let's say, run the contact. Fine, let me run full sync, that's fine. And simultaneously what I will do is I will also run the very quickly the opportunity and product as well. So I will run the opportunity. Okay, and what I will do is I will also run the product. Okay, now if you see over here, if I refresh, you see there's something called a skew. So when something is running, the other portion gets skewed. Okay, so if I refresh it once again, okay, you see now it has in the running stage. So that's what that particular thing means. So for example, whenever you are actually scheduling the data sync, you will get this option of ensuring a particular time when you don't want it to get when you don't want it to run, basically to be in the queue stage. So for example, here if I go for start, I can select that time which I want to, and I can run every 15 minutes. That's the minimum I can definitely do, and I can select all the days as well. Okay, or if there's a specific day in which you want it to run, you can select that part. Okay, and similarly we have something related to hour. You can start at that hour, and it runs every 1 hour. So every interval of 1 hour it runs. Minimum 15 minutes is something you can run every interval. And again, for hour and minute also, you have this particular option where if you there's a specific time when you don't want to run, it will not run. Okay, so you can select the time over here. Okay, so for example, it's running 12, and let's say at 1 a.m. I have certain other data flows which are running. So I can actually ensure that it doesn't run at that time. Okay, so I can select that part over here. That is related to hour, and you can schedule by week as well. Okay, so let's say I schedule it by Monday and Tuesday maybe. Okay, every weekdays I can schedule it, and you can schedule by month as well. So you, for example, whether you want the first or second Sunday of every month. Okay, so you have all this first, second, third, fourth, last. So in whichever day you want to run it, you can run it. Okay, so you have the weekdays to select as well over here. So let's say I do it by week. Okay, and let's say I have selected Sunday, Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So every week at 12 a.m. it will run. So I can click on save, where what happens, basically this whole sync is going to run every day at this particular point of time. Okay, as you can see, the next run is on 14th May 2025 at 12 a.m. Okay, that's what it is. Because here the problem is on an individual level, you cannot run the sync. So here, if particularly I want to schedule this particular sync of product, okay, I can run it manually, that is fine, but I won't be able to schedule that individually. But let's say, for example, we have this SFDC local over here, and we have this Gen C, or okay, the Salesforce external. I can schedule this part, fine. So this part I can schedule, but on an individual level, I cannot schedule it. I can run the data sync, but I cannot schedule it. So here also, if I go to schedule, I will have that particular option, the same which I had for the local object. Okay, but anyways, right now we are checking for this. So as you have seen, I've already scheduled it at 12 a.m. every week from Monday to Friday. Okay, that's the first step. Now this is related to the sync. So for sync, I hope you understood. There is nothing concept of event based. There is only time based, and you cannot run a particular object in present in that particular table. You can run that particular whole table, as a complete scheduling. Fine. Then if we come to the data flow and recipe, now here is the interesting part. For example, I have this free session one. What I can do is I can always schedule this. Okay, so I have this option of schedule. Fine. And here you can see the schedule mode is two kinds of mode are there. Okay, one is time based, one is event based. So what is time based? Let's say I want to schedule it by again, I will get the same option like minutes, and can run every 15 minutes, which is fine. Okay, so that part we can already do. That is completely fine. The same thing which I did for data sync, and I can always run it at the specific time. This is the same thing what I did for the data sync, but one interesting concept is there is something called as event based as well. Now, what does that mean? So basically, schedule mode run after the local connection syncs. Okay, the Salesforce local connection syncs, and the selected recipe or data flow runs. The selected recipes or data flow runs. Okay, so for example, let's say I select the first option from event based, that is run after the Salesforce local connection syncs. Okay, so I can click on save from here. So whenever the sync happens, this is going to run. That's how it's scheduled. And maybe what I can do is I can also open the free session 2. And let me check what is over here. Okay, this is related to external. I won't disturb that one because that is not connected right now. Okay. For example, I have this free session 3 where, it is completely related to opportunity, if you see, isn't it? We have dealt completely with opportunity over here. Okay, which is fine. Now, let's say this opportunity I want to run after this free session 1 runs, okay, which is free session 3. So what I can do is I can go to this free session 3. I can go into the scheduling, and again, I can go to the event base, and I can select the second option right now. So the session 1 is running after the local sync happens. Now, if I click the second option, I get variety of option over here. Okay, where it actually tells me like which selected data flow will be running after which you want this particular data flow to run. So in this case, what I am going to do is probably I will go for free session 1. Okay, so I have this data flow. This is the data flow symbol, as you can see over here, and this is the recipe symbol. Okay, so I will just click on this after events, which is fine. And what I will do is I will click on save. So what will happen is this free session 3, okay, of the data flow is going to run right after the free session 1 is going to finish its run. Now, if I come to the recipe, maybe what I can do is I can open the free session 1. Okay, I have something related to opportunity over here, opportunity account contact. What I can do is I can run this recipe right after the free session 1 data flow. I mean, right after the free session 3 data flow complete session. So what I can do is for this free session 1, again, I can just go over here, and here I can just go on schedule. So once I click on schedule, I can go for event based, and Here the Salesforce local connection syncs, the Salesforce local syncs and selected receiver directory runs. The selected receiver, the Salesforce local and extra connection. So for ACP, you have one extra option where at last you get this option, the Salesforce local and external connection syncs. Okay, not only the local connection determines if this run will occur, external connection don't trigger the run. So external connection don't trigger, the local connection trigger the run, which is fine. Now what I will do is I'll select this third option where I have the selected recipes or data flow which is going to run. Okay, so what I will pick is I will pick the free session 3. Okay, the data flow which I have. Okay, and for this free session 1, I will just click on save once again. Fine. Now that's the way it is done. So what I've done is currently, like, I have taken the sync layer where this particular sync I have just scheduled it for every week at 12 a.m. from Monday to Friday. And what I have done is additionally, like, I have taken this particular free session 1, and as you can see over, it's written after events. Okay, so after events means, like, again, if I go to the schedule, fine. So basically it's going to run right after the sync runs, which is completely fine. And then I have something from free session 3. Okay, so free session 3 is also, as you can see, it's written after event. And here, if I just click on schedule, basically this one is going to run right after the selected local things and selected. So I've selected that particular data flow, that is, so I will show selected, that is free session. Right after the free session 1 runs, so after the sync, this free session 1 runs, then only this is going to run. Okay, so that's the part which I have done over here. Fine. And finally, what I have done is basically there's a recipe where for this free session 1, again, this is written after events, as you can see. Okay, so if I click over here as well, after events, it basically shows that this is the selected recipe. So when it's going to run, it's basically going to run right after free session 3. Okay, now basically in recipe you have this extra option. So let's say if I open the free session 2, yeah, let me open the free session 2. I won't go for free session 2. Maybe what I can do is I can go for free session 3. Okay, let me check the free session 3. Okay, not even free session 3. I can go for free session maybe 5 only. I can take. That's fine. I take 5. Yeah, for example, I have free session 5, which is related to account and opportunity. And this free session 5, let's say I want to schedule it for that last option. So once I click on the schedule on the recipe, okay, I have this option of even this, where this last option is there, where I can ensure that the sales, okay, both local connection, external connections in determines if this run will occur, not supported for data flow. So for recipes, particularly for scheduling, this is one last option which is particularly there only for recipes, which is the Salesforce local and external connections things. Then only this is going to get run. Okay, this event that is there for this free session 5 recipe. Other than that, others are already available for data flow, which we have already do. So that's the whole part which I wanted you to understand. Like, basically from the data sync, we have this option of scheduling time based only. But when it comes to the data layer, that is data flow and recipe, you can actually do it time based as well as schedule based. So basically, just like we have this option, once you do scheduling, you can, you have all this option where you can go for event based. And these are the various options which you have. For recipe, you have a last option where it helps you to run once the local sync as well as the external sync happens as well. And other than that, you can also unschedule this. So for example, we have this option called unschedule. So if you just click on this unschedule, it's just going to get unscheduled. That's it. Okay. Same thing we can do for others as well, for which we have scheduled that. So that's the thing about this scheduling of data layer, where mainly we need to understand, like, what are the options available, that is time based and event based for the data layer, and how it's time based only for the sync data sync. Okay. So yeah, that's it about this video. Let's meet very soon in our next one. Thank you.